Hello, St. Thomas Academy, and welcome to the Cadet Football Show. I'm your host, Mike Maxwell, and to my left is head football coach Dan O'Brien. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Mike.
Good to have you back. Congratulations on an impressive win on Friday night over Two Rivers. Final score 51-0. Give us your assessment of the game.
Well, I was pleased with all three phases of the game. Again, with the exception of, Mike, you'll always ask about the areas we need to improve, and that's the first thing that comes to my mind is, hey, what do we need to get better at? We have 10 penalties. So that's the first thing right out of the chute that I think of is we got to take care of our penalty situation. That's going to impact us down the road if we don't get that fixed. And I'm confident that we will, and for sure. Other than that, I thought all three phases of the game, we came out of the gates early, and I thought we were physical. Yeah. Especially offense was physical. Normally we talk about being physical on defense, but our offense was physical, led, I think, by our running backs and some of the blocking we had up front. So those are the things that stick out. We were physical, and I think in all three phases of the game that we were on top of Two Rivers in each of those phases.
Yeah, you bet. Defense, of course, continues to play at a really high level. I mean, they completely shut down the Warrior offense. Were you pleased with how they played, or was there anything that you saw that might cause you some concern?
No, I was pleased. I think we gave up a total of 33 yards on the night, and anytime you can have a night like that, that's fantastic. Two Rivers is put in a new offense this year, so I think they're still kind of getting used to themselves a little bit with their new offense, and they helped us out some with some shotgun snaps that probably didn't go as well as what they might have had hoped they would have. So that had something to do with it. But I thought we were really quick up front. I thought our defensive line had an excellent game. I thought we tackled well, and secondary guys, they got their work in. They threw probably half of the time. So it was a good night for the defense for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And your offense is playing pretty well as well. Although it felt like they were struggling to get really kind of some rhythm going in that first quarter. But you were ahead 14-0, so it's always a good spot to be. But then second quarter hits and the switch just flipped, and you scored 28 points. What do you think the difference was between the first quarter and the second quarter?
Well, I think we started wearing them down a little bit. They had a bunch of kids that are playing both ways. I think one of their better players that we had talked about last week, the Mogelson kid, ended up getting nicked up a little bit, so he didn't play a ton the second quarter. When things start rolling sometimes, things go, and I think we had a couple of drives where we scored in one or two plays. They had a turnover, and I think that second touchdown the pass in the corner to Luke Dobbs was one. Maybe their defensive back wish he had over again. He maybe had a chance to make a play on that ball, but he didn't, and Luke did. So it was fun. It was fun to see our offense get going a little bit. I would have liked to throw in the ball a little bit more. We didn't throw it much. Once we got ahead by a comfortable amount, I'm not into throwing the ball. And it was raining. It was raining early, and they were having a hard time stopping our running game. But I think this week against Cretin we'll certainly have an opportunity to throw the ball a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. So can I make an assumption that everyone got to play
everyone
on
did,
Friday?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it was fun. We had a chance to get the sophomores out there, and the sophomore coaches had a chance to call some plays in the varsity game. And,
that's awesome.
It's always fun when you can get all your kids in the game, especially those that are young or those that don't get a bunch of snaps when the games are close.
Right.
So it's special when we can do that.
Right. Well, and I'll just add to that. We're struggling to schedule some sophomore games as well because there's the lack of teams. So it's nice that they get an opportunity to under the lights and get a chance to actually get some snaps in.
Yeah, it's fun for those kids, and they enjoy it, and they wait for that opportunity. And the expectation for our varsity guys that have played the entire first half of the game is to go ahead and support those guys, and I thought our guys on the boundary did a great job of doing that as well.
Good to hear. So let's talk about the players of the game. Let's start with offense.
Offense is going to stay. It would be Lev Adebayo. Lev had a fantastic night. He had over 100 yards. Yeah. I'm not sure what he averaged per carry, but he had to have been. I know he had a 54-yarder, and so he probably was average 10 yards a carry. Right. But probably more impressive, he ran real physical. He ran as hard as I've seen him run in the 3 years of having a chance to coach him. So real pleased with him. And again, when the running backs have a great night, that probably means you had a pretty good night up front, which I thought we did. But Lev Adebayo was our offensive player of the game this week.
Awesome. Yeah, he was pretty he was pretty physical.
Active. Yeah, he was.
There was some
fun to
kids on the
see.
receiving end of
Yeah.
that are probably hurting the next day.
Yeah.
Good. How about defense?
Defense was Jeffrey Craig. Jeffrey Craig is a kid that's he's come a long way. He transferred in last year as a junior and didn't play a ton for us last year.
Right.
But we had a really good summer with our workouts and our summer practices, and he plays as hard as any kid we have, and he was real active up front. He was quick. He caused them a lot of problems, and I think he had 4 or 5 tackles behind the line of scrimmage or TFLs, tackle for a loss. So he was our defensive player of the game. Looking forward to his continued growth up front.
That's awesome. And special teams.
Special teams went to the 2 kickers. Michael Thompson, who was new to football this year. He played as a freshman and didn't play as a sophomore and junior and came back out as a senior.
Really?
He's a wide receiver kicker for us. He was 7 for 7 on his extra points. And Roman Metzger was our other special teams player of the game. He was our kickoff specialist for the night.
Okay.
Hadn't kicked. We didn't even know he could kick until earlier in the week. He said, "Hey, coach, I'll give it a shot." He did, and he did a fantastic job. We look forward to more of him in the future.
Good. And then the last category is your grinder of the week. Who's
The
that?
grinder of the week, again, our favorite award from the coaching staff goes to Sam Fulton. Sam had a fantastic night. He had 4 tackles on special teams. He played reps at inside linebacker, took reps at outside linebacker. Just a positive attitude, glass half full kid, and we're honored to reward him this week with our grinder award.
Yeah, he had a couple of big hits.
He did. He was
speaking
physical.
of tackles for losses. He had a couple. That was great. Good. I too like the grinder award. That seems to exemplify what you're trying to do with the program. So that's great. So let's turn our attention to this week's game. The Raiders of Cretin-Derham Hall will invade Gerry Brown Stadium on Friday. The Raiders come in 0-2, having played Spring Lake Park and Maddaus, 2 pretty highly regarded teams in Class 5A. What do you expect from the Raiders when they come in?
I think they're going to be good. I think that to think that they're not a good football team, being 0-2 is kind of fool's gold a little bit.
Right.
The 2 games they lost to Spring Lake Park, who's a top 10 team every single year in Class 5A. They lost to Maddaus, who, as we know, last year was the runner-up, to Mankato West, and they lost by 14 points. So that's a two possession game. So they're going to be good. They've got a sophomore tailback that I think is really good. Their quarterback situation, they're playing 2 quarterbacks right now. Both of them throw well and run well. And their defense is getting better. Obviously, new coaching staff, Steve Walsh. They've got Totino Grace as old defensive coordinator, so he's experienced and been in a winning program. So I think it's going to be good. It's a rivalry game, right? You alums that played the thing know what that's about, and so it's kind of one of those deals. You throw the records out. It's Gophers versus Badgers. It's Vikings versus Packers. It's the Cadets versus the Raiders, and anything can happen. And we need to play well. The biggest thing is going to be ball security and keeping them out of the end zone. If we do those 2 things, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah. All right. Good. So to throw on top of a rivalry game, it's a distracting week for the boys. It's homecoming. We've got alumni reunion weekend coming up this weekend. It's Tackle Cancer, and by the way, there is a football game in there somewhere, I think. And they got their homecoming dance and trying to, probably some of them are still last minute finding a date and figuring out what to wear. How do you, what steps are you taking to mitigate some of the distractions and kind of get them ready to go on Friday night?
That's a great question, because as a coach, this week can be a nightmare. And it was a nightmare for me for many, many years. I've changed my approach to it now. I tell the kids, go have fun. Enjoy everything about homecoming. Enjoy the process. Enjoy the journey. What I'm asking for is 2.5 hours a day. Once you get to practice, all the trench ball stuff and the Hawaiian shirts and the cowboy thing, whatever else, for that 2.5 hours, that's over. It's out. We're not worrying about dates. We're not worrying about our suit. We're not worrying about where we're going to dinner. I need them locked in for 2.5 hours. And if we can do that, and then go have all the fun you can have and enjoy that piece and make memories with your buddies. But when it's football time, then it's football time. And with it being Cretin, I'm confident that the kids will be excited to play. I'm probably more concerned about them being overexcited to play than than having expended all their energy throughout the course of the week. So that's as much a concern for me as anything.
Well, and they are, I mean, it's great advice, first of all, to have some fun, enjoy the week, but, get locked in, when you need it to. So, and another kind of a big deal about this is, this is a sold out game. We don't get too many of those on our own campus. Tickets, got sold out by Saturday morning. So this is a big deal within our two communities, and of course, being a tackle cancer game, it's drawing some attention as well. So I think you're right on track, keeping the boys where they're at. So let's switch to the football side of things. What are the one or two things that you're working on this week to really focus in and get ready for these guys?
Well, that's a good question. I will tell you two things, and you're going to think, gosh, that's coach talk if there ever was anything. But they're a 50-50 team. They're balanced. They're, in the first two games. I think they would rather run the ball a little bit more than what they have. But they've been about 50-50 run pass. Now, they've been behind, so when you're behind, obviously, you're going to throw it a little bit more.
Right.
But we need to stop the running back, number 21. Okay. If we can contain him in the run game, the pass game, it's number 11. He's really good, and we'll have a plan ready to go for him, and hopefully we'll be healthy in the secondary. And we haven't had Mark Rogalski yet. He's a senior leader for us. He's our best defensive back. We've missed him the first two games. Actually got hurt in warm-ups last game. The poor kid has just had bad luck. He turned an ankle about 10 days ago and turned the other ankle in warm-ups Friday night. So we're hopeful to have him back this week.
Okay.
He's an important piece for us in the secondary. We feel real comfortable if we have Mark that he can go on number 11 and handle that situation well. But we got to stop 11. We got to stop 21, and I think if we can do that, we'll be okay.
Good. And then overall, what are you hoping to see from the Cadets as they take the field on Friday?
Well, I'd like to see us play for 48 minutes. I'd like to see us be able to hold our intensity level, and the first two games our starters have been out at halftime.
Right.
I don't think that'll be the case this week. I'm fairly confident that won't be the case. They're going to have to play a full game. Yeah. So we'll see about our conditioning level, which I'm not overly concerned about, but being able to maintain that intensity for 48 minutes instead of 24 minutes will be different for our guys, and will be a challenge. The game's going to be won up front. It's going to be what will our offensive line do against their defensive line? Can we control the ball? Can we run the ball? If we can run the ball, we're going to be able to throw the ball. And then same thing on defense. If we do well up front on defense, we'll be okay. So those will be the two areas for me that I'll be most concerned about. I'll keep an eye on is what's happening on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, that's good. I'm sure you'll have them ready to play on Friday night. So thank you for talking a little cadet football with me today. Look forward to doing it again next week and doing a recap of what I hope is a pretty exciting game. So,
awesome.
Yeah,
thanks, Mike.
Good luck on Friday.
Thank you.
Your cadet football team will play the Cretin-Derham Hall Raiders on Friday nights. Kickoff set for 7 p.m. The game will be played here at STA in Gerry Brown Stadium. The game is sold out, so there will be no tickets available at the gate. If you didn't get a ticket on the first round, you are out of luck, unfortunately. But you will be able to watch the game live at cadetbroadcast.com, and they'll have end-to-end coverage of that game. And we encourage you to tune in and send some emails in and send some comments in to the broadcasters. So thank you for watching. We'll see you next week. Go Cadets.